I'm Rachel from PortaCheck. I'm here with Dave Lee and Jason Berkowitz, consultants, and we're going to run a whole blood glucose test on calf's blood, and then we're going to run a passive transfer IgG test.
So now we're calibrating the meter for the glucose.
And that code matches the code on the calibration strip and the vial. And we insert the test strip. And we apply blood to the edge of the test strip once it's ready, and we get that blinking icon.
So we just want to do a glucose test quickly while we're going to look at IgGs, just to see how our metabolic conditions are improving or if they're good. Glucose is important if we're looking at electrolytes and overall calf health.
Counts down.
178. Okay, so she's got plenty of glucose in her system.
So we have our IgGCheck test kit here on the farm. It's a 10-minute test. It's very simple and easy to use. It comes with test strips, buffer dilution, pipette tips, your test cassettes, and the dropper wash, which will wash the blood through the test. So we've got our blood, and we have our 10 microliter pipette, which is sold separately. We have a clean pipette tip on there, and we're going to stick it right into the blood syringe. I'm going to depress it to the first position. Slowly. Oops. And it takes 10 microliters of blood. I need my buffer dilution bottle, which I'm going to dispense the 10 microliters of blood directly into. Can you hold the tip? Thank you. Okay, and then I'm going to depress the pipette tip a few times to wash out the syringe tip. Okay, now I take this used pipette tip off. I'm going to cap the dilution bottle. I'm going to invert it probably about 4 times so that the blood and the buffer mixes. Okay, now I need a new clean pipette tip. Dave, can you undo the test packet for me, please? Okay, so I'm going to collect 10 microliters of the blood buffer mix. Okay, now this is what your test strip looks like. There's the sample well there, and that's where we're going to dispense the blood buffer mix. Okay, and Dave, can you drop 3 drops of the solution onto the sample well? Perfect. And in 10 minutes, we're going to look at our results and see what we find. All right, Dave, our 10 minutes is up, so let's look at our test results. IgGCheck passive transfer test is a qualitative test, so we're looking at the test line and the control line in the key that is in your product insert.
So in this case, our test line looks darker than our control line. So it looks like we have adequate passive transfer. A number we like to look at is 1,000 milligrams per deciliter. That could also be 10 milligrams per milliliter, depending on what scale you're using. So she looks good. Her glucose is good, and her IgGs are good.
Great. So why would someone use IgGCheck passive transfer test to look at IgGs rather than a serum total protein test?
So total protein is looking at all the immunoglobulins, and we would like to focus on the immunoglobulin G, which is a predominant immunoglobulin or antigen that's important for passive transfer to get into the system to help fight bacterial or viral infections.
Okay. So a calf is born without immunity, correct?
Yeah, the calf's born with no protection at all. Her protection comes from the colostrum. That's why it's critical that we test colostrum and have high quality colostrum and get that colostrum into the animal within the first few hours of life so that we can begin to get those antibodies into the system prior to gut closure, which is anywhere from maybe 18 to 24, 26 hours, depending on the animal.
Okay, so when do we test for IgGs?
So there's several times we like to look at IgG tests, and one of them is maybe 18 to 20 or 12 to 18 hours And this could be early, but I like to look at it then because it gives me a chance to react, maybe give some better colostrum, some colostrum replacer into that animal prior to gut closure.
Okay. And what about calf ranches and places where they might receive calves after this period where gut closure occurs?
So the recommended time would be 24 to 48 hours for testing, and that would be good for on a farm for general screening of animals. But a calf ranch is probably going to end up with animals there that are going to be older than that. So out to 10 days, maybe 2 to 10 days you could test, and that will give you a good indication of the health of the animals that you're getting in, and give you an opportunity to go back to the calf owner if your animals didn't have enough IgG to let them know they need to step up their colostrum management. They need to take a little bit better care of their calves because they're not going to gain as well, they're not going to grow as well, and there's really good research showing that calves that have proper IgG, good immunity, are going to have higher milk production, faster growth rates, and overall be more healthy. So I like to look again early. Screening animals, maybe 24 to 48 hours, calf ranch 2 to 10 days.
Okay. So this is a qualitative test. So what if somebody wanted a quantitative answer, a number for this test?
So we also have a meter. Right now we don't have it with us. It's out in Wisconsin. We're ready for the Calf and Heifer Conference. But that's a meter that we can actually look at this, and the meter will calibrate the lines, and we'll give an actual number. So it would tell us it was 10, it was 12, it was 15 milligrams per milliliter, as opposed to a qualitative test. So that's another good option. You can have a qualitative test, or you can have a cube, and you can have a quantitative test too.
Great. Okay. Thanks for your time, Dave.
You bet. See ya.